Guys, these are my future sideboards. And before we glue them to the wall, I'm going to need to use primer on one side. And then I'm going to turn it around and paint with the color that we picked. Basically, this is a primer. It's a sticky primer. Unfortunately, they're not going to peel to the wall. Or if you're going to use scissors, you can always do that. Yeah. And that's it. You can see the baseboards. I painted them the color that I'm going to be showing you in a couple of seconds. It's really pretty, but it has a glossy finish. Later, I switched to a matte finish, which I love, but you can choose glossy finish as well. Guys, we got a vinyl color. This is shade M417, and we're going to be doing the inner part of the window with the same color. And then we're going to do the sideboards and door frames with a shade. And this is me just painting, and painting. I did, I guess, 2 or 3 coats, basically 3 coats, and later I added a little bit more of a sticky tape to make sure that I'm not gonna screw my windows. Guys, this is the final result. I love it. The color is interesting. It's probably not the best one because my husband hates color pink, but when there's a little bit different light, it looks like a little bit of beige, really complicated color. So we're going to be doing sideboards, and explain that I primed the back of the sideboard to make sure that they're going to stick, and then I use the same primer with no additional color on top of this decorative finish because it has a little bit of sun grains, and that's why I'm a little bit afraid it's going to fall off. I'm going all the way around my room with this primer. This is a pretty easy step. These are baseboards and some glue. Whatever you need to do is to add more glue and stick it to the wall. I would say don't trust consultants because the consultant told us this foam is not going to be bigger in size or just double in size. And then we came home, we kind of didn't expect that to happen, and then we purchased the foam, and the foam said that it's not going to expand in size. It's going to stay the same because it has glue inside. But no, screw them. It actually went totally wrong. We screwed over the floors, this new sideboards, and this new windowsills. I guess we're gonna clean this tomorrow, and then I don't know. Window frames we did with the same color and with the same material. It's basically wood, and it's super easy to glue on. Now guys, we're doing painstaking job. I need the same paint, and whenever I see small dots of white or whenever it's not perfect, we're gonna detail this with the brush and with the same paint. Here comes the scariest, the worst part of all. I mean, my husband and I, we had a huge fight. This is the second wallpaper that we were trying to glue on, and still it wasn't perfect. You're going to see this in a sec. At first, you're going to need to measure your wallpaper, the height you need, and then maybe if you need to avoid some of the areas, cut this out. In the middle of this wallpaper, we created a small hole. This is for a future lamp, and that's why I used some glue that we purchased, and this is a process. Get the glue on and get the glue on top of the ceiling. So it's wallpaper glue and ceiling glue. This is the same type of glue. You just have to put this everywhere because it's not going to stick to your ceiling. And then at first you can see us talking, chatting, kissing. Yeah, that was really hard, and we wanted to start from the middle section of the wallpaper and then move to the sides simultaneously, but then you can tell it didn't really work for us. I asked my husband to hold this wallpaper while I was peeling the first part of the wallpaper and getting this to the first side of my wall and I guess the beginning of the ceiling. Later, we realized that this technology wasn't actually working to work from the center. That's why I started from the beginning and I try to find and match the painting as much as possible. Then it was really handy to use certain brushes or some silicone pieces for wallpapers because they were really helping to get any air out and make sure that there's not going to be any more bubbles. But if it's not perfect, guys, don't worry. It's going to be so much better later. When you leave it overnight, the next morning, you're not going to see any bubbles. Or if you have one, you can always try to add a little bit more glue with some shots. Okay, so what we were doing, we try to glue the first part of my wallpaper, and then we moved straight to the other part of a wallpaper because it just falls off because of the weight. What I needed is to make sure that the first part before the lamp was more or less even, and then the second part wasn't perfect. I was basically holding and securing the wallpaper in the middle while my husband was peeling off the rest of the wallpaper. It was matching to the painting, the drawings. He was trying to match it all and make sure that it's not going to be extremely bubbly and rough. So we're going back and forth and we were trying to get as even as possible, and then from the center we're moving towards the end of the wallpaper. This is the only recommendation I can get you guys because you have to be there to understand the process, but it's tough and you need at least 2 people, and it's better if you have 3 people because wow, it's really, really hard. You can tell the left side is not bad. It has 0 bubbles and it is really good to the ceiling. The right side was rough, but we needed this step to make sure that it's not going to fall to our heads. That is the main reason why I'm securing this. You can see that I'm securing that the wallpaper is not going to fall to the left side, and we're kind of working with the right side only. That is the main reason why you need someone else to protect you from falling to the left side of a wallpaper while you're working with the right side. Guys, this is the entire ceiling with the wallpaper. This is the next day, and I wanted to show you the final result. Of course, we have some imperfections, but nothing crazy and dramatic. This is some leftovers from the plywood when I was covering the holes. Guys, we're doing window seals, and right there we had a lot of black mold. My husband took off every construction foam we had with this mold, and right now we're just cleaning this with the vinegar to make sure that the root of the mold is going to be removed forever. And then we're going to put on the window seal. By the way, I completely forgot to show you guys. Look at that beautiful stuff. It's going to be glued on to the ceiling, and we're going to put right here in this whole lamp. Okay, right now we're doing ceiling sideboards, and I'd say I have no idea what is the technology, but it looks fine. Then I'm going to be painting the sideboards with the same color as the walls, and we're going to glue them on. Looks fine. The only problem is that it's extremely short. Do not follow our instructions. So what I'm doing, I'm grabbing the same primer that I used to get over my walls, and on top of that we're going with a little bit different color, the one that we used for the walls, and it's gonna be super pretty. It's like a finished result. Excited. It's still a little bit wet, but we're getting closer, guys. We're getting finally closer. Guys, moment of truth. First sideboard of the ceiling. Guys, now we have another problem. Due to the decorative finish, unfortunately, the sideboards are not sticking to the walls. That's why we've decided to prime the wall again with the same primer that we used to get for the baseboards, and then we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Maybe it's gonna help to stick the sideboards much better to the ceiling. Guys, we switched to a little bit different glue because the previous one was super, super bad and shitty, and this one is really good. So when you purchase a glue to make sure that it's gonna stick to the ceilings, make sure that this is the good one. It's the good one. Look at that. Right now we want to try to fix some holes that are not perfect. We're gonna add a little bit of silicone in between, and then when it dries out completely, I'm gonna go with the same paint as these walls, and it's gonna be seamless. Perfect. The silicone dried out more or less, and that's why I went with the paint, as I mentioned this earlier, and try to cover the white spots in the holes. So guys, we've created 2 different holes for the screws, and then we're gonna glue this on and then repaint it on top. And again, I used primer first, would let it dry completely, and only later move to the molding. The molding I painted earlier, I described everything that we did, and then I added more glue, and then we used scissors to get it in place and hold it. And I wanted to make sure that was more or less even, and you couldn't see a hole. That's why we were checking everything so many times to see that it's not visible. We have no holes. I wish I could tell you about a lamp process, but I have no idea what my husband was doing back there. And that is the main reason why you can just probably hire someone, or maybe your husband knows how to do this. I decided I wanted to paint these shelves the same color as the walls. And these shelves are going to be the same color as the baseboards. I love it. We're going to add a couple more frames around the mirrors, and then we're going to start the decorative part of the video.